a couple months later, whenever it was, and I went to the tribute and I saw these people, they're just praising Les Paul. And so here I go again. Les plays 2 shows every Monday night in Manhattan at a little place called the Iridium. I met Les when he's 87. So he's a lot more stubborn than Chet was. And a few years had gone by also. But same thing. I just went in there and started pestering him. And I even took him a copy of Think and Grow Rich. And I gave it to him. He said, "What do you want me to do, Randy? You want me to sign this book for you?" I said, "No, Les, I want you to try to understand that I need a letter of introduction." And finally, to make a long story short, he says, I don't want to give you anything with my name on it and have you out there running around. He said, "I don't know you that well," even though I did work with him for 4 years. And I was doing quite a bit of partying at that time in my life, too. So I don't blame him for not letting me run around with his name with the open carte blanche. So nonetheless, he said, "Did you see who comes through here to play with me on Monday nights?" There's all kind of people would come through there, just anybody that ever played Les Paul guitar, which is a Gibson. And so he said, "I will introduce you to him. I'll tell him you're writing a book. I believe in what you're doing. I believe you're trying to help kids become better musicians and follow their dream. I understand all that. I'll introduce you to them. If they want to help you, fine. If they don't, that's all I can do." I said, "Okay." So that's what we did for several years. We sat there off and on, and I would work with Les. And then a little later, the internet came about, so I was able to get publicist names and go to the publicist and email the person with my questions, and they would either some of them would, some of them wouldn't email back. A lot of them are just, they don't care what you're doing. Even though it's for a good cause, they don't care. So I realized that all ties into the fact that when you're working with the people who are struggling, it all goes back to the little paragraph. I go right back to that paragraph every time, no matter who I'm working with or what I'm doing or how I'm trying to help someone. I say, "Okay, let's peel back the layers of the onion. Let's get down to this. Let's get this paragraph, because it'll work for anything." It worked for me to put my book together, which is how I met Don Green, which is a whole nother story, but a beautiful story. And it helped me. So there's one more thing I want to say. There's an exercise I do, which also helps people. And I know it does because I've had people do it, even like, for example, when we were making the Moody Bluegrass stuff, some of the people were so involved with it for so long and had such a huge feeling of importance, which they were important. They're producers, they're studio, they're people that they're just so excited to be doing what we're doing and working with the class of people we're working with, that when it was over and recorded and done, I had 2 different people where their wives had told me, "Hey, my husband doesn't seem to be so happy. He's just kind of like postpartum or something. It's like the thrill is gone, and they're having trouble. They're just not as happy as they were with." So I contacted him, and I used Rhonda Byrne, who wrote The Secret about the law of attraction. She had another book, I think it's called Love or something about love. And I really got into her whole thinking of love. And she has a practice which I use, and I gave it to these 2 people, and their wives both said it helped them. I still use it today. I call it the love list. I forget what she called it. She called it something else, but I just call it your love list. And it's a simple exercise, but what you do is you just write down everything you love. Just start, I love Billy. I love the sky. I love whatever you love, I love my car. I love my house. I love the Lord. I love my church. I love the fellowship. Whatever you love, you write it down. And anytime you're going through your day and all of a sudden, like, how it is, you're just high on life. You're going through your day. Everything's real happy and glorious. And all of a sudden you get a phone call and it's not quite the right phone call, or you don't get the right answer. And all of a sudden you have a little dip. I call it a dip, where you just kind of go down in your spirit a little bit. And you just feel like, you don't feel like you did just a few minutes before you got the phone call. So immediately, if I do the love list and just start going over it, I love this, I love that, and it starts smiling, and it starts making you feel better, then lo and behold, it can change your entire attitude, because love is such a powerful force, as you probably know. It's I've learned beyond that. I've gone to learn from love that love just makes you feel strong, and love makes you feel tender. Love makes you feel secure. Love makes you feel appreciated. Love makes you feel important, and everybody craves for appreciation and importance. Doesn't matter who. Every person craves for appreciation and importance. Even people living on the street. You got a guy that is kind of like the leader down there. He's getting his feeling of importance by being a leader to homeless people on the street. So everyone likes that feeling of importance, and that's what love helps you gain, that feeling of importance. Go ahead.
Randey.
Yeah.
Randey, I got to tell you, there's so much I can learn from you with all that you're speaking about today. And I hope that people are listening like I'm listening. I just love listening to you. What I'd like to do, if it's okay with you, is the show is generally 55 minutes, and that's about where we're at right now. I did not want to interrupt you because I just was listening. I love listening to you. What I'd like to do is ask you if you'd be so kind as to do another show soon where we can just pick up right where we left off, because I think we've delivered what I wanted to deliver today. It started last week with some of the writings that you did and starting to talk about your background. Now you've come on, you've started to talk, and you're animated. You're animated in such a loving way, but you ended it just now with love. But I got some notes here. We've got to get into how you met Don Green, how you got further into that. But what you did mention is that you've been spending years developing a Napoleon Hill book that's being sanctioned by the Napoleon Hill Foundation. What's the title of your book for artists and musicians?
It's called Think and Grow Through Art and Music.
Is it published yet?
Not yet. I could tell you why, but it's about the QR codes, yeah. But so not yet. We have a couple publishers online, yes, but nothing confirmed.
But you've been working on it, I gathered from what you said, maybe 10 years.
20 years. Oh, back in the 90s, I started.
Well, that's a lesson for all of us to listen to. Success doesn't happen overnight. You just got to stick with it and never give up on your dream. And so last week's show and this week's show, that's really what we're talking about here. So what I'd like to do, if it's all right, is just stop the show in a second, just kind of end it with the last final thought type thing, and then just do a sequel to it whenever you're ready. Would that be okay?
That'd be wonderful. And once you mentioned the book took 20 years, I want to tell you the Moody Bluegrass took over 10 years. I talked for 10 years straight trying to get people to do it, and I would be at the music festival, and I'll tell you this real quick, and I would tell them I've got this wonderful idea for Moody Blues songs in a bluegrass style, and every person I would talk to backstage would say, well, I'll play on it or I'll sing on it for you, but I don't want to do it. I can't produce it. I don't have that much time. So it took me 10 years to talk someone into doing it. So there you go. It's persistence again, Steve. So go ahead.
Randey, you put enough things out on this, and I don't know if people realize that. I hope they do, but I'll listen to this show that we just recorded a minimum of 5 or 6 times. And then when I come back on with you, I'll follow up on some of the things that need to be brought out more. You have just honored all of us with the way this went today. I hope you're pleased with this first conversation. For those that don't know, Randey and I have been talking to each other maybe for 5 or 6 months now, and I brought some of that out last week's show. But this is the first time when we record, we do it through a Zoom video also. And this is the first time that I've had the pleasure to look face to face with Randey. And Randey, I just love you. I thank you for what you did today. And would you like to say any last thought to the listeners before we sign off today?
Well, I just appreciate you taking the time to have me. And I look forward to our next engagement, because if there's any way that we can help people, that is how I get my feeling of importance today, just by helping people. And, I get my feeling of importance from love, and I love you, Steve, and I appreciate you having me, okay?
Randey, God bless you. You're amazing. So for everybody, listen to this show again, and be looking forward to when I bring Randey back. And everyone have an absolutely wonderful week. God bless.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Right Thinking with Steve Copeland. I look forward to being with you again next week. And remember, don't quit, plan ahead, it will get better. God bless you and have a great week.